Welcome everyone. Today we have Mario Nawfal from Dubai, and he builds companies, invests in startups. I've seen him super active on Twitter lately, and he also talks about crypto, NFTs, investing, and entrepreneurship. And I think today is the perfect day to record a podcast because today Twitter Spaces are down. So welcome, Mario. How are you?
Good, man. Good. How are you?
Fine, thanks. I want to make this episode so we know a bit more each other. We've been connected on Twitter, I think, because of Web3 or blockchain and Twitter Spaces. So it's a mix of them. And so I also read your story. I think it's inspiring, but I think I'm hearing that directly from you. I think it's better. So yes, and maybe we can talk about Twitter Spaces later, of course. And for once, at least you will be the guest, so you can also because I'm really curious about your experience lately. It has been impressive, shocking. I don't know how much did you sleep in the last period. So okay, nice, Mario. So please introduce yourself, and then we'll keep going. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Name is Mario Nawfal. So I got into business a pretty long time ago, launched an e-commerce brand, which still exists today, doing extremely well, called Fruity. I don't manage it, but I started the business and ran it for the first few years. Got into crypto in 2017, launched IBC, which is a large incubator now. Took NFT Tech public and now host a roundtable, which is the biggest show on Twitter.
Exactly. I forgot to mention it, but I saw it. So it has a community. I saw that this is very active on Twitter. So yes, amazing, perfect. So before going into talking about Twitter Spaces for 2 hours straight or 6 hours, depending on your your needs, let's can you tell me please a bit more about your story if it's related to tech? How? So tell me a bit more about yourself. Thank you.
Yeah, I got into crypto because nothing ideological. It's not like I loved decentralization or I hated the government. None of that, because I know a lot of libertarians got into crypto in the early days for that reason. No, I got into the space in 2017 because I wanted something outside of e-commerce and I wanted to diversify my sources of revenue because all I've done was e-com till then, till 2017. So I launched IBC for that reason and it blew up pretty quickly, unexpectedly. And then it imploded in 2018. I got scammed, lost millions, licked my wounds for a while, and then got back on the horse and launched NFT Tech, the show, and obviously IBC is doing better than ever. So that's a brief overview of how I got into tech. Because before that, I was just started with nothing, launched Fruity, my first business, and did extremely well financially pretty quickly.
Nice, nice. Thank you. So finally, I'm getting some idea. I see that you have also different hobbies. I see that you are dancing. I think in some videos. I don't know if you still do it or not.
Man, yeah, I haven't danced for the last 3 months, but I'm still a dancer. I still need something outside of crypto, or I'll lose my fucking mind if I just do crypto.
Nice, nice, nice. For sure, better than me. So it's it's great. It's great. Nice. Okay, so maybe let's talk about Roundtable first and how this is related to Twitter Spaces, so I can understand a bit better, and then we'll talk about like the big guess, what happened. I think in the last 2 months, I think it exploded. I don't know, or maybe before, but at some point I saw you like I don't know if I open Twitter, if I don't see you in a space, it seems like strange for me now. So yeah.
Yeah, so I started the roundtable before Twitter. I didn't even have a Twitter account. So I started it on Clubhouse back in the heyday when Clubhouse was blowing up. And then I ended up having the biggest room on Clubhouse. Used to have a lot of great people jump in, a lot of big names jump in on a daily basis, and tens of thousands of listeners every day, 7 days a week. So that was my first foray into anything public because I used to be a very introverted private person until 2018. And then obviously Clubhouse imploded, uh, barely exists today, and took a break from it, focused on business, and I started Twitter um, earlier this year. I'd say about mid this year, so about 6 months ago now, and started the Twitter Spaces, and it blew up pretty quickly. So it became the biggest space in crypto from day one, and one of the biggest spaces on Twitter. And then we were doing it 6 hour space once a week. It was like a big marathon. And then we split it into two, it became two 4 hour spaces or 3 hour spaces. And then obviously FTX blew up. And we were doing our normal space. FTX blew up, and then we started covering that. We started seeing the implosion live. We started seeing FTT token collapse, people losing their money, all of it live, and everyone watching with us. Oh, it's like watching the World Cup, but it just never ends. The World Cup final for days and days, it never ends. Because let's say in World Cup, you can only win by scoring one extra goal, and ending 90 minutes with one extra goal. No penalties, no overtime, no golden goal. So imagine that's how the World Cup worked. And imagine they're always equal, non-stop for days. That's pretty much what happened with FTX. And we kept covering it non-stop. We had Hunter Biden jump in. We had Elon Musk jump in. We had Mick Mulvaney. We had CZ. Later on, Sam Bankman-Fried himself came in. And a list of other policymakers, business leaders, and everybody in crypto was listening to us. So we had a big responsibility. And then we had whistleblowers and insiders come to us and give us scoops that we had to verify and share. So that sucked up all my energy. I stayed up for 40 something hours the first marathon, and then the next day 20 something hours, me and my co-host Chet. And it sucked up all my resources at IBC, my company, because everyone had to just survive now with the show, because it just blew up like crazy. Millions of listeners per week, per day even. And since then, it's just been a roller coaster. You know, we're still having even bigger spaces. We had Elon Musk come in another couple of times, join and have great discussions. We've had Mark Andreessen 2-3 days ago. Today, we have a lot of big journalists coming in to debate, assuming Twitter Spaces stops glitching. So that's what got us to where we are today. And obviously, we reach hundreds of thousands of people per day now.
Nice. Thank you for giving me an idea because I joined many times. I stayed as a listener for a while, but listen like from the other side, I can understand better what happened and what is happening because what I saw is that also you covered also different topics, like always at the top, let's say the hottest topic in the world, we can say, or at least let's say about Twitter, for example.
We started, Francesco, we actually started purely crypto. That was the show was purely a Web3 show. But then during the FTX show, do you remember the missile that landed in Poland and everyone freaked out? That happened while we're doing the show. I was ready to go to sleep. We were ready to end the show. And then my co-host, like, breaking news, a missile just landed. And they thought it was a Russian missile initially, if you remember. So they say a Russian missile just landed in Poland. And the guy that's my co-host he still works with me, ex-intelligence, ex-Air Force, used to work at the nuclear program in the US. So he comes from a military background. And he covered it from a military perspective. And then we had all these military people come on the show. I didn't plan not to cover crypto, but then everyone came for us to cover the missile crisis, whatever you want to call it. And then later, a few weeks later, we had the Twitter files drop. And we started covering this. And everyone came to us to get the scoop on the drop. So we became the place for people. And then when Sam gets arrested, we did a quick space and everyone came to see what's going on. So we became the place to be whenever there's breaking news, because people expect a non-biased, non-echo chamber discussion with different perspectives.
Yeah, and this was exactly one of the things that I wanted to ask because we all have our opinions, like personal opinion, because for cultural reasons, age, age, and so how can you manage this, or has it been difficult or more harder because like these are like hot topics? People like, for example, FTX, like people losing maybe their savings of life, so or something else. So how do you handle?
It's very tough. It's very tough because, especially when it comes to politics, because I have to, number one, my own beliefs don't matter anymore because I'm meant to be an objective host. Then I had to balance out the discussion so it doesn't lean one way or another and it has to be in the middle. Number three, I had to a lot of speakers don't like others disagreeing with them. So I had to balance out people's egos so they don't argue with each other and block each other and stuff. So it was managing human emotions. I don't like doing it, but it's a necessary step to avoid us becoming an echo chamber. It's actually so much harder than people make it out to be. So much harder to not have an echo chamber, to have an objective discussion. It's not easy at all, man.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not easy, but I think that this might be one of the reasons why you have so much audience, because people want to like listen to maybe the news or the real facts. Maybe this is what people want in real life.
I feel like people wanted different opinions. They wanted people that don't agree with, just to listen to what they have to say. Then they can make up their mind. I think people are just done with the bias of mainstream media and the echo chambers of social media. They need, like, I think they just appreciate an objective take on everything. And I accept everyone on my stage. Everybody. Like, I've had criminals like Martin Shkreli,
So
the farmer boy, politicians like Mick Mulvaney, Sebastian Gorka, or obviously Hunter Biden, who's not a politician, the premier of Barbados. So I've had people from the left, people from the right, people from different countries. Even when we started covering the Polish missile crisis, we had people that supported Ukraine, and we had people that supported Russia on the panel. How tough is that? Imagine me in that position. My next topic is gonna be my next space will be about COVID, because the next files by Twitter is about the Fauci files about censorship during COVID, which I have to cover. Like, how the hell am I meant to objectively cover COVID? It's such a polarizing topic, but I'll be giving it a shot.
nice, nice. So this is I don't know if I want to say exciting or scary, maybe both of them. But yes, it's I think it's very hard to do, but I think you are doing it well. I don't know if you're doing this alone or do you have someone else? Like, do you have some help at
Bro, I
least?
have 20 people in the team.
Nice, nice. So this is this is already a good news. And yes, so do you have something that you remember, like I don't know, like a very some tough moments of some highlights moment that you still remember, like in the past
Yeah, man,
weeks?
there's a lot, man. Like, did you hear the Hunter Biden interview?
Yes.
Yeah, so the Hunter Biden interview, which everyone went crazy on. Hunter Biden's a very polarizing person. Some people like him or don't mind him, but a lot of people just hate him like crazy. I didn't know there was so much hate to him towards him. So we made a deal to bring Hunter Biden on before we became an everything show. We were just an NFT show. Okay? And Hunter Biden's team told us, Mario, or they were talking to my co-host, they're like, Chet, these are the questions you can ask. Nothing else. We don't want to talk about the laptop. We don't want to talk about politics. We don't want to talk about Joe Biden, the president. Nothing like that. World events. Hunter wants to talk about NFTs. That's it. So we're like, all right, cool. That's fine. Like, it would be great. Again, that was months before we actually brought him on. That was before the midterm elections. So we're like, great. That's no problem at all. We're an NFT show. We'd love to talk about NFTs. I don't give a fuck about politics. We're not a politics show. And we delayed the show because of the midterm elections. So the show has to be delayed. We delay it till after FTX, till the day we have hundreds of thousands of people listening to us and people expecting us to cover everything. So we were covering the stories we were only allowed to ask. People hated it. And I wanted to ask more questions. I wanted to ask tough questions. And then when I started asking more personal questions, Twitter glitched and they dropped out. It was a very weird glitch, and they both dropped out at the same time, Hunter Biden and his business partner. And I got a lot of hate because I didn't ask the tough questions. But at the same time, people didn't know that we were not allowed to ask the tough questions. So that was very memorable. And my co-host was really upset by how things went, because he's like, Mario, we had a script to follow and we kind of went off script, started asking personal questions, which it went well when we asked personal questions. But it was a reminder of how difficult it is to host big names and big personalities, and balance out the discussion in which where you don't want the personnel. Like, we're talking to Kanye West's team to bring him on the show. People love to hate Kanye West, and some people love him. So I'll have to ask the tough questions because that's what we're about. We're about full transparency and open discussions. But at the same time, there's lines you can't cross, or the guest will just leave. So you got to find the balance between the guest leaving, but asking the right questions and being open and honest about it. So that's a balance I'm always trying to keep, and I've had a few instances where it was just tough to maintain that balance. The Sam Bankman-Fried interview was another one. Like we had a plan not to interview for entertainment. My co-host had a plan to question him because he's questioned people before in his profession, to question him and get him to admit to things. But people wanted like an interview, a full interview with a full discussion where we hear Sam speak, and then other panelists want us to speak, and it didn't work out really well. So I learned lessons from those two experiences, and since then it's been a pretty smooth ride. But I'm sure I'll fuck up again.
Nice. So someone will comment like, "Okay, and now this happened." I don't know, but I think, say, from my, say, I can give an objective opinion because like we don't know each other like since we were children. So from my perspective, I see that you're doing well. So of course you can't have like 100% of people really loving you and just cheering you. So I see a balance, but I can say that. You are handling it well. Like sometimes I see like some people crossing a bit the line on Twitter, for example, but I think it's part of what you are doing. But I think that we have to think like, I don't know, with a bigger mindset, because if we start, I don't know, trying to please everyone is doing a comment, it's impossible, of course. So I think that you're doing well. So, and now I wanted to ask about the you had Elon Musk one, two, or three times, I think. And I'd like to ask you, what has been your first impression? Like, how is him in the spaces? Because of course he is like a world famous person. Someone love it, him, someone hate him.
Yeah, Elon is an interesting character because so we had Mark and Andreessen on the space as well. Last time Elon came, and then Elon joined Mark and Andreessen for a great three-way discussion. And I asked a question. I asked Mark. I'm like, Mark, is so Mark Andreessen is from Andreessen Horowitz, the big VC fund. I'm like, Mark, like, is Elon always like this? Is that how he really is? Like fully transparent? Is everything he's saying just him being open and honest? Or is he being strategic with everything he says? And Mark is like, Mario, there's nothing Elon wrote or said that in your space or on Twitter that he hasn't said to me privately because they're friends. Mark is on the board of Twitter. And then I realized that Elon's just open. He's an open person. So when he comes in our space, you just don't know what he will say. First time he came in our space, the first thing he says was Doge to the moon. That was the first thing he said. And then he started, and then the second time he came on the space, he talked about how if he ever dies, he's not planning to commit suicide. So another way of saying like he's worried about his safety. And obviously we saw examples of this afterwards with people going to the airport and his family's car getting chased by a stalker. The third time he came, the interesting thing is he was dressing up while he's speaking to us. You could hear him dress up and his zip up his pants and stuff. So whenever Elon jumps in, I just don't know what to expect. First, I know that every speaker wants to speak, so I have to clear up the panel because I have to only have people that I know and I know don't interrupt and ask the right questions. So number one, I have to clear up the panel. And number two is I have to just be ready for everything. Be ready for Elon to drop the mic saying something crazy. So yeah, that's Elon for you.
Nice, nice. Thank you, Mario. Like listening this for you, from you, because I heard some parts, Musk, and I don't know. I'm neutral on this side. That like I heard him like trying to explain some parts. He was like not screaming, he was like explaining some parts. But I have the feeling that he was very calm. At least when I was there. So at least
Yeah,
this
he's
has
a
been
very,
my
very,
impression.
very, very man. The guy deals with so much. A space for him is like time to relax.
Yeah, I think the whole Twitter thing, like it's like I don't know. I think for him it's just I don't know, like buying a PlayStation 5 just to play just a bit. This is how maybe it is, but that's it. But yes, so Mario, I'd like to maybe to tell me more about your future plans. What are you doing with all these spaces? So what's your direction on this? Because like it's now it's a big deal. We can say, as you said, like it's one of the first Twitter spaces on Twitter. How do you have a plan on how this might evolve? Like of this big audience there.
Yeah, so the plan is really simple. We're planning to make this into a potentially a 24/7 show, but for now, a show for breaking news. Whenever there's breaking news in the world, you know that I'm going to have a space and I'm going to have all the top names there to discuss it. That's the plan with the Twitter Spaces. We're not really thinking about moving it off Twitter. We're looking at keeping it Twitter native and seeing where Twitter takes it because they're looking at introducing video, etc.
We will see. We will see. So yes. So first of all, good luck, Mario. Of course, this is just
Thanks, man.
the first time. So let's keep it short. Just a coffee chat, open coffee chat. So we can also show this if someone else is interested. But I saw many people already on Twitter that are interested into this. So yes. And do you want to leave a final message? Do you want to say something before we close?
What we're trying to do with the roundtable is to offer, as I said, just objective debates and avoiding the whole echo chamber and bias that floods our world today. So what I say to everyone is, whatever you believe, listen to people that disagree with you. Question all your beliefs. That's probably one of the best things you could do.
Nice, thank you. I think this is great, and it's great to focus also on what people have to say to us. I think it depends on how people disagree with us, but some people they honestly disagree in a very open way. So it's and it's hard. It's hard because we have to say to be open-minded to everyone. And let's see, we never know like where is the line where someone is just a pure hater or someone who's trying to help, maybe giving a honest disagreement. So we don't know, and I like that you want to explore this line and see how far it can be. Thank you, Mario. So we'll put all the links in the description. So feel free to, of course, follow Mario and the Roundtable community everywhere. And yes, Mario, I hope that we will jump in a space at some point, maybe in the future. I would love to. And yeah, let's keep in touch, and maybe we can make more collaborations in 2023. I really wish you the best. I see that you are a hard worker, so I always keep the side. I also always cheer for like who is like working hard on what they do. So I really appreciate and respect you for what you're doing because you're putting all your time, your effort. I also think we sent a message a couple of times like, "Are you sleeping enough? Like I'm worried about you." That's it. So, but I really like people who like put like their heart in what they're doing. So
Thank you.
I
Thank you.
just wanted to say, I invited you to tell you this. So that's it.
Thank you so
Perfect.
much, man. Appreciate it.
We're done.
All right.
Okay.
Good to
See you
meet you,
next time.
Fash. Thanks a lot, man. Thanks, bro.
Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye.